Good morning. It's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself. We are now squarely in 2022. And so it's time to get on those, resolutions. But for those of you with chronic illness, you really want to just look at it as a new year. It's not a time to beat yourself up. It's a time to look inward, to reflect as to what's been happening. How did I get here? How am I responsible for my health conditions, my chronic illness, and everything that's going on? And we, as humans, do not like to be responsible. We want somebody to blame. We want something to blame. But I'm asking you to reflect back over the last year, 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years, however long that you've been sick. And let's look at the responsibility. How is it that you got here? How did you get sick? What responsibility do you play? Because as we all know, it doesn't come out of anywhere. No matter what disease it is, whether it's autoimmune, cancer, heart disease, whatever it is, we know. It's not that we blame ourselves and shame ourselves and say, well, if I would have eaten better, if I would have taken care of myself better, if I would have done all these things, if I wouldn't have done this or this or this, I probably wouldn't get sick. Because we can never go back and undo the past. That's one thing that we have to do. We can only go forward. We can only stand squarely in the present and move forward. So we do need to be able to forgive ourselves for anything that we've done in the past, because often we're doing the best that we can at the time. We're doing everything we can at the time. And, we can't hold ourselves accountable for what we didn't know then. What we can do is really, though, take this reflective time as we cross over into 2022 and look back and say, how was I responsible for this illness? How did this illness come about? How can I take responsibility for my part in it? What happened? What were the things that led to this? And how do I now fix that and undo it? Because we don't want to look back and just stay in the past. We want to go forward and make a plan. But we first must see and acknowledge what was in order to stand squarely in what is and just accept it. Accept this is the situation. I wish I didn't create it. I wish I didn't have some responsibility for it. But you need to take all responsibility for it if you're actually going to see it in its entirety, and then be able to have enough will, enough determination, enough energy to put a plan in place to go forward to undo what's been done. And we can all undo what's been done. It takes work, it takes dedication, it takes practice, patience, time, all of this you need going forward. So it's not about shaming yourself, blaming yourself, but it's about really becoming aware. Where are you responsible? How are you responsible? And then looking at it squarely as to how do I undo this? What do I do? What do I need to do? How do I put that in place? And how do I have enough energy and force behind me to carry me through? And so most people do this with New Year's resolutions, right? They're like, oh, I need to, get on a diet, or I need to do this, I need to do that. And they want that to keep that energy that they get when they put their plan in place to carry them for the full year. Now, as we know, most people have fallen off their resolutions by the end of January, if not the first couple of weeks. So some people make it into February, Valentine's Day breaks some people, and then we head towards Easter. So all these different milestones, all these different events thwart our efforts often. But usually we don't make it more than a couple of months before the resolutions have been forgotten and we're back into our old patterns. So when it comes to healing yourself, First and foremost, I'm just going to speak from the heart. This is kind of getting into a different topic, but when you are sick, when I was sick, anybody who I know who has chronic illness, who has been sick, is suffering and in pain. We need to derive meaning from that. We need to get a sense of meaning and purpose. We just do. To be a doctor, to be a psychiatrist, to be a friend, to be a person in someone's life and to look at that person and say, I don't know why you're sick. You're just sick. You just caught it. You just have it. You just are sick. You didn't do anything. There's nothing you can do. And this is just the way it is. It didn't happen for a reason. There's no meaning attached to it. There is no meaning. You're just sick because you are. There's no reason. There's no meaning. You know, that is one of the cruelest things that you could ever say to somebody who's ill. I want to repeat that. That is one of the cruelest things. Really deep down, like deep down, if you want to hurt someone, that's how to do it. Because someone who is struggling with an illness, especially if it's going to kill them, if it's a severe chronic illness, if it's an illness that brings fear and isolation and regret and all of these things, we need to believe as humans that there is meaning, that we are struggling, suffering, and going through something for a reason. Because if not for a reason, we can't get that energy behind us to keep going. Because oftentimes it is too difficult, it's too painful, there's too much suffering. The path and the journey is too long. And if we don't believe that there's meaning behind it, we simply give up. And we give in to hopelessness and helplessness and defeat and despair. So any health professional out there, whether it's a doctor, a nurse, anybody, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a natural doctor, no matter who it is, if somebody says there's no meaning to this, you just are sick because you are, and there's no meaning, you want to get a new person, a new ally, a new team, because you need to make meaning out of this. In order to heal, healing's all about coming into wholeness, okay? So when we're physically broken, we don't see that. We think, I have to put my physical body back together, my physical cells, my physical, whatever physically is wrong with me, I need to fix it, mend it, put it back together. And that is part of it. We put the physical back together. We piece the whole back together. But as we know, we are body, mind, and soul, and you cannot heal one without healing the other. So when you are healing the physical, you heal the mind, you heal the emotional spirit, you heal it all, because body, mind, and spirit are all one. So you realize as you're going down the healing path that even if you're physically ill, you're mentally ill, you have emotional illness, you're carrying trauma. It doesn't matter which one of those it is, you need to heal them all. So even if you're healing emotional trauma, you still need to heal the physical body. You need to eat right. You need to get on point with everything. And if you're healing your physical body, you still need to go through the trauma work. You need to heal all of it, right? Because it's a whole pieces. And if I was to take, I just have this essential oil bottle here, but if I was to smash it on the ground and it breaks, it becomes fragmented, cracked, right? It becomes fragmented, cracked. And I could spend time putting all the pieces back together. They're there, they're on the ground, and we can put them back together, glue them back together. And if I found all the pieces and took the patience that it had, I could eventually piece back the bottle, bring everything back into wholeness, okay? Which is what you're doing when you're chronically ill, which is what you're doing when you're healing disease. So this new year, as you go forward into 2022, we need to find meaning. First, we need to find responsibility. Where do I take responsibility for this illness, right? What is my plan for going forward? And then how do I accomplish that? How do I carry out this resolution for healing myself this year, which I'm assuming everybody who's on this channel, that's your New Year's resolution, right? It was every single year for me to heal myself this year, to really heal myself this year. So if that's the case, we need to find enough meaning, enough purpose that pushes us forward, that keeps that going, just like anybody trying to keep a New Year's resolution, right? And somebody who's really overweight, trying to lose weight, might need a push. They need to find meaning, right? What is the meaning? What's the meaning? Why are they overweight? What are they gonna learn? What's the lesson? What's their purpose when they come through this? Who are they doing it for? All of this matters. That's the difference between someone who keeps a resolution and someone who breaks a resolution. None of us want to break resolutions when we make them. We all want to go forward, but we need meaning. We need a meaning. And so as we go forward into 2022, we can sense that it's not just ourselves and our own health that needs healing. Relationships need healing. The world needs healing. So the world itself needs healing in 2022. We're afraid. We are cracking. The way I see it, because I've been through chronic illness and I can see what happens at a micro level, so I'm able, I think, a little differently than other people to see what's happening in the macro, on the global scale. And what I see, and when I relate it to healing on the micro scale, like healing your own body, soul, mind, everything, when I project it out to the world, I can see a world that's cracking, that's fragmented, that's broken, has a lot of cracks. There's a lot of cracks coming, as everything comes up, right? As the pressure of this virus came to be, as the pressure of the response to the virus and the response to the people on what the response is, and as people take sides and there's animosity and fear and anger, people always look for someone to blame. When I was sick, I looked for someone to blame. What is it to blame? Is it the food? Was it, it was this doctor, it was this medicine, it was this thing, it was the thing. But if we stick on blaming for too long, we can't heal. It's part of the process. We need to find someone to blame. We feel if we can find someone to blame and put our energy onto that negative thing and this is the reason, this is the person, if I can be angry enough at this and really try to fix this problem, then everything's going to be okay. But it never is, because you need to let this go in order to heal yourself. So even though I was angry, even though I knew what it was, even though I had all the feelings that came up that said, this is the bad person, this is the bad thing, this is what happened, this is what I'm angry at, this is where I'm focused my energy, at a certain point, you realize it's not benefiting you. And the only way to heal is to let that go and to say, that's in the past. I accept who it is. That can never be changed. That can never be changed. So pouring my energy over here in anger isn't going to heal me. What I need to do is put myself back together, put the whole back together, heal my feelings, my emotions on that, right? The trauma, my physical body, my organs, right? Everything that needed to be healed. My mind, the mental patterning and the subconscious patterning. So everything comes together as a whole in healing. So when you relate this to what's going on in the world right now, when people are taking sides and the world is cracking and there's a lot of pressure, you can feel it. There's a lot going on today that shows us that because of all of these factors that came together at the right time, what's underneath the surface has been illuminated. So the corruption that was underneath, the power that's going on, the different problems that are in society, the government, big pharma, big agriculture, big tech, all of these problems coming to the surface at once, we can see them because as a global world, this crisis with the virus has illuminated everything, because everything's sort of culminated together at once for us to see. The lights have been turned on for many people, but some people don't want to turn the lights on. The lights are still turned off. And so there's division, there's sides, there's people over here that see this and people over here that see this. Some people in the middle that kind of go back and forth. They can see this, they see this, it's confusing. So there's anger, there's confusion, there's stress, there's division, there's hurt, there's sorrow, there's sadness, there's grief, there's anger, there's all of it coming up to the surface, right? It's like bubbling up. And it's palpable in society right now, and society needs to be healed. But the only way that like with the micro, to heal the macro is to forget about the anger, forget about the blame, right? That's not going to heal us. Focusing on and having somebody to blame, like the vaccinated are focusing and saying that the unvaccinated, and the unvaccinated people are saying the government, everybody's blaming and shaming each other, and there's anger directed, right, at all angles, and that never is going to heal society. The only thing that heals us, the only thing that heals the fragmented whole, is by cooperation, collaboration, the coming back together, the allowing, the forgiving, the tolerance, right? So as we go forward this year, there's a lot of upheaval. It's hard to heal. It's hard to heal your micro self. It's hard to heal your inner landscape, your emotions, your world, your trauma, your physical body, because the world is illuminating it, right? The world is showing us. It's harder, but it's more exciting, because as more light gets flooded all over everything and we see things more clearly faster and faster, we have the opportunity to heal faster, because most people get stuck in the investigation stages too long. Like, they don't see clearly, they're not allowing themselves to look at their real feelings, to take responsibility for what's happening, to stop with the anger and the blame and all that stuff, because it happens slowly for people. But when something happens quickly and everything happens at once, it hurts more. As everything rises to the top faster, it hurts more. It's more uncomfortable to live through. But it's often where we have our greatest insights and those huge aha moments, and these insights that tell us what to do. Our inner voice becomes clear often when there's so much chaos going around us. We ultimately look inside and say, what do I think? What do I believe? We start to do the research for ourselves. We start to investigate for ourselves. And then, yes, it makes us angry. It makes us mad. All these come to the surface. But we realize that we cannot heal the whole without all of us. All the parts are the whole. So even the part that you're shining the anger on is part of the whole. We must accept all of it as part of ourselves. So even the thing that you're most angry at, or the thing that you hate the most, is just the shadow aspect of yourself coming to light. And we must take all of it as part of ourselves, because all of that that's playing out in society right now is all at a macro level, is all happening at a micro level. We all have problems with fear and jealousy and pain and guilt. We're all the bad guy, corrupt. We're all the good guy. We're all the hero. We have all these different parts inside of us. We can be judgmental and critical. We can also be loving, amazing, and forgiving. So all of these different parts that you have within you, these warring parts within you, where you can find sometimes that you can be too quick to anger, or too quick to judge, or too quick to criticize, or maybe not forgive easily. Like, all these qualities that you have, you also have the opposite qualities. You're, amazing and kind and loving and successful and ambitious and driven and hopeful and funny and silly. And you have all of these amazing qualities: loving, compassionate, understanding. And so we have all of these dualistic nature inside of us. And this is what we're seeing on the macro level as well, right? That person over there is not the bad guy. That bad guy also exists inside you, because you also have anger. You also have judged, you also have criticized, you've also put pressure, so once we accept all of these different parts of the world as our own, as ourself, then we can start to heal, because it's going to take all of us to come together to heal the whole. And with everything going on in the world right now, it almost seems impossible, right? We have to first accept each other. We have to accept that all of these different parts of society, of culture, are part of this collective right now. And to heal it, we need to see it. We need to understand it. We need to let go of the resentment and anger around it, and we need to bring it in to heal it, right? Just like when you're healing your dark inner wounds, you cannot heal them unless you allow them to rise first, right? You cannot heal the grief that's inside you unless you first see it Acknowledge it, allow it to rise, and then heal it, right? So this is the same what's going on the macro that is going on in the micro with you as you try to heal your body, your chronic illness, your disease. It's happening at a macro level right now, and we're seeing it being played out. And it's so interesting actually to see it being played, from a healing perspective, from a health and healing perspective. Somebody who has a chronic illness, who's going through chronic illness, can see what's happening, body, mind, spirit, on a micro level. And we can see what's happening on a macro level with the world right now. Again, we're all one, body, mind, and spirit, right? We all come together. All the different people are one. All the different emotions are one. So we're all part of this big, huge, diverse oneness. That's what they mean by oneness, or God, or the universe, or the creator, or source. It's a oneness, and it means what is in the whole is in all of us, right? What is in the whole are in all the parts, and all the parts can come back into the whole. So we have to get away from this blame and this is good, this is bad. There's often a lot of duality between not just only individuals, but different sides, different theories, different everything. We have to look past that if we want to heal. So the best thing that we can do to heal ourselves and to heal the world is to spread what we want, to spread love, to spread kindness, to be light, to spread truth, to be truth, to hold the light on the hard parts, to hold the light on the darkness, to hold the light on your own body, on your pain, on your symptoms, on your suffering, to allow that to be okay, to accept it for what it is, and then to make a plan, to have enough purpose and meaning attached to it that will propel you through this journey that you need to take in order to get there. So getting back to that meaning and that purpose, you need to know that there's a reason you've gone through this. Whatever you feel that meaning is, that reason is the reason. It's going to contribute not only to you getting well, but when you're well, it's going to contribute to healing the whole. Because when we have a meaning, that helps us get a purpose. And when we have a purpose, and when there's meaning, we can accomplish anything. We can heal ourselves. We can heal the world. So remember, it's not just about making resolutions. It's not just about saying, I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to eat this diet. I'm going to drink this. I'm going to, heal my inner wounds. It's about bringing everything back to the whole on the micro level and on the macro level. And we do that through meaning and purpose. Why am I here? Why am I a part of this story? What meaning do I give to this story? What purpose do I have in this story? All of us have watched movies. I used to be a screenwriter. Back in the day, before all this happened, before my chronic illness, before I was a storyteller. Every story has a hero. Every story has a variety of characters. Every character is there for a reason. They all have a meaning. They all have their own purpose. And that purpose pushes the meaning, the message of the story. Every character has a meaning, has their own meaning that they take from the story. And it all contributes to the overall wholeness and the completion of the resolution of the story. But each character is important, right? They have their own story within the story. They find their own meaning within the story. They have their own purpose within the story. So every part has its place in the story. So stop condemning everyone out there. Stop looking for someone to blame. Stop pointing the finger. Stop taking sides. Stop getting stuck in the anger piece of your own chronic illness or the chronic illness and fragmentation of planet Earth right now, or society or the world. We can only do our part. We can only attach meaning to what we've been through. And that helps us define our purpose in this story called life, and in this story of you being the hero of your own healing journey. So you are the hero of your own healing journey, and you are the hero of the story on planet Earth. Only there's so many heroes. We're all the heroes. But some of us don't know it yet, right? Some of us are playing roles of the villain. And so, okay, 2022 is here. We want to heal ourselves this year. And by doing so, through our meaning, through our purpose, through our story, through our actions, each individual micro action to heal yourself and to heal the collective, once we attach meaning and purpose to it, we're going to have enough energy to continue to do all the boring parts in between, right? To do all the stuff that's necessary, to show up every time you need to show up, to meet all the goals, to do all the things that you set out that you know you need to do, because you're taking responsibility for your own self, for your own health. And again, on the world, you're not giving all your power away to the governments or big pharma or big tech or big whoever, big nobody, right? You're the big. You are the power. So what do you bring to that story? You don't have to give your power away. Again, this is all about taking back your power, taking accountability, taking responsibility, making goals, having a plan, following through with action, attaching meaning and purpose that can drive us through the hard and long, dark night of the soul to a resolution, right? That feels good, that feels right, that brings us back to the whole, that helps our body, our minds, our spirit, our souls heal, and that helps to contribute to the healing on planet Earth. So I hope this video has been helpful. I'm wishing you a happy, healthy new year full of lots of meaning, lots of purpose, lots of energy behind that to push you through, to keep going for this whole calendar year without letting everything, all the excuses thwart you and have you fall down into that helpless, hopeless hole. Remember, the meaning will keep you going. Your story is important. The meaning of why you're in this story is important. So tell your story, drive your story forward, and let that heal yourself and the collective. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Please share this out. Please like it, leave a comment, do anything that you want, and I will see you in the next video.